I teased him about his insecurities, but his reaction was nothing I expected. Hey Reddit, so to start, this is going to be a bit of a long one, but I really need to get something off my chest. I'm hoping some of you might understand, or at least offer a perspective on how I messed up so badly. A little background so you understand where I'm coming from. I've been with my husband Jake for about 5 years, and we've been married for just over a year. To be honest, we didn't always see ourselves as a married couple. When we first got together, marriage wasn't really on our radar. We were both young, focused on our careers, and content with just being in a committed relationship. Neither of us thought marriage was a must-do, or that it would change much about our relationship. But then something shifted for me. It was a few years ago, after my sister got married. Her wedding was absolutely beautiful. Everything from the ceremony to the reception was perfect. It made me rethink my own views on marriage. I started to see it as something meaningful and special, something I wanted to experience. I talked to Jake about how my perspective had changed. I told him how I felt about wanting to have a wedding and a more formal commitment someday. Jake was incredibly supportive and understanding. He was on board with the idea and genuinely excited about it. It was clear he wanted to make me happy and build a future together. So he proposed a year back, and our wedding was everything I had dreamed of. The day was perfect, and our honeymoon was just as magical. We had this beautiful start to our married life, and for the first year, everything seemed great. Jake is an amazing husband. He's thoughtful, caring, and always goes out of his way for me. He's 27, and I'm 26. We both thought we had this beautiful marriage and were building something lasting and fulfilling together. We had a traditional setup in our marriage. Jake was the primary breadwinner. He worked hard to support us and paid all the bills, while I was a stay-at-home wife. I took on the role of managing the household. On the surface, everything seemed perfect. We had a solid, loving relationship, and our dynamic worked well for us. Jake was always attentive and caring, and I felt incredibly lucky to have him. However, there was one aspect of our relationship that wasn't as smooth: my tendency to joke around and poke fun at things. I've always been the type who finds humor in almost everything. I enjoy making lighthearted comments and cracking jokes, even if it sometimes means making fun of things that others might find sensitive. For me, it's just a way of navigating through life and keeping things light and enjoyable. But Jake wasn't a fan of my jokester side. He had his own struggles with insecurities, which I didn't fully appreciate until later. Despite being attractive and physically fit, he had a well-built physique and was generally considered good-looking. Jake carried a lot of emotional baggage from his past. Years of bullying and negative experiences had deeply affected him. His self-esteem took a very huge hit from the constant ridicule and harsh treatment he endured growing up. Those experiences left Jake with a number of insecurities that he never really overcame or recovered from. He might have appeared confident to outsiders, but inside, he struggled with self-doubt and feelings of inadequacy. I didn't always recognize the extent of these insecurities, especially because he seemed so capable and strong on the outside. My jokes and teasing, which I thought were harmless, were actually hitting on some of Jake's deepest insecurities. I never intended to hurt him. My comments were meant to be lighthearted and playful. But what I didn't understand at the time was how deeply they affected him. My attempts at humor sometimes struck a nerve. Also, Jake's insecurities weren't something he talked about often, and I didn't fully understand the impact of my behavior until it was too late. He often kept his feelings to himself, so when he did express discomfort or hurt, it was usually in small ways that I didn't always pick up on. I thought it would be okay to make light of Jake's insecurities because I believed it would make him laugh and somehow help him feel more confident. In my mind, joking about these things was a way to bond, to show that they weren't a big deal, and to prove that we were comfortable enough with each other to laugh at ourselves. I never intended to cause any harm. But now, looking back, I can see how wrong I was. At first, Jake would laugh along with me. Even if the jokes hit a little too close to home, he'd still muster a smile or a chuckle, and I took that as a sign that he was okay with it. I figured that if he laughed, it must not hurt him. But over time, I noticed a shift. Jake wasn't laughing as much anymore when I made these jokes. Instead, he'd get quiet, his smile would fade, and he sometimes seemed really upset. I brushed it off, thinking he was just being overly sensitive or that he needed to toughen up. I convinced myself it was just a joke and that he should know I was kidding. But the truth is, I now realize that I wasn't just joking. I was preying on his insecurities, and I did it constantly. It wasn't just a one-time thing, it became a pattern, a cruel habit that I didn't even see as harmful at the time. I made these jokes in public, where the sting of embarrassment would be even sharper. At family gatherings, parties, weddings, or game nights, I always managed to slip in a joke about Jake's insecurities. It was like I couldn't help myself, even though deep down, I should have known better. One time, during a dinner party with friends, the conversation shifted to childhood memories. Jake hesitantly shared a story about being teased in high school for being overweight. It was clearly a vulnerable moment for him, and instead of offering reassurance or empathy, I added a joke that he was lucky I met him after he had hit the gym. Everyone laughed, but I should have noticed that Jake wasn't laughing. He was just quiet, almost shrinking into himself. Another time, at a family barbecue, Jake's dad brought up how Jake used to struggle with sports as a kid. Instead of supporting Jake or changing the subject, I jumped in with a joke about how his lack of coordination was probably why he avoided the gym now. Everyone chuckled, but Jake's smile didn't reach his eyes. I should have seen that. It wasn't just in public either. In private, I continued the same behavior. Jake had planned a dinner date for us, which was a big deal because he wasn't a great cook. He usually ordered food for our special nights because he knew his skills in the kitchen weren't the best. But instead of appreciating the effort he put in, I joked about his inability to cook. I complained about having to eat takeout again, even though I knew he was trying his best. I didn't realize how much that must have hurt him. There was another time when I joked about a small scar on Jake's face from an old injury. I would bring it up often, making light of it, and when Jake would grumble, I'd tell him he was being too sensitive. I didn't realize that I was making him feel self-conscious about something that was already a sore spot for him. Even something as simple as Jake being shy and sometimes struggling to express affection publicly became fodder for my jokes. I'd tease him about not holding my hand or being awkward when we were out together, not realizing that I was only making him more self-conscious and uncomfortable. I didn't stop at just the small things either. Even more sensitive topics like his financial insecurities were fair game for my jokes. One time, Jake opened up about feeling insecure about his career and worried that he wasn't providing enough for us. Instead of offering support, I tried to lighten the mood with a joke that I was the real breadwinner, even though he was the one working. What I thought was a harmless joke likely made him feel inadequate and unappreciated. And it wasn't just his career, I joked about his physical abilities too. During a workout, when Jake was struggling with a particular exercise, I laughed at him for it, thinking it would motivate him. But I now realize it probably only made him feel worse about himself. All of these moments added up and created a painful pattern that I was too blind to see at the time. Each joke, each jab, chipped away at Jake's self-esteem and made him feel humiliated and small. I thought I was just being funny, but in reality, I was hurting the person I loved the most. Looking back now, I wish I had been wise enough to see just how much I was hurting Jake. I wish I had recognized the impact of my words, but instead, I continued down the same destructive path, thinking it was all harmless fun. I ignored the signs, the quiet moments after my jokes, the way Jake would sometimes withdraw into himself. Instead of being more sensitive, I only kept on going, making things worse with every thoughtless comment. When I say I made fun of everything, I truly mean everything. Nothing was off limits in my attempts to be funny, even though I can now see that my jokes were far from lighthearted. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was tearing down the very person I claimed to love. For example, during one of our regular game nights with friends, we were reminiscing about high school experiences. The conversation turned to dating, and I thought it would be funny to bring up the fact that it took Jake a long time to get a date in high school. I laughed about how shy and awkward he was back then, thinking it was just a harmless joke, but I didn't stop to think about how that must have made Jake feel. I even made fun of his teenage insecurities, even though I knew they were still a source of embarrassment, even after all these years. Another time, while we were on vacation with another couple, we decided to spend a day at the beach. Jake was always a bit self-conscious about his body, and he was reluctant to take off his shirt. Instead of respecting his feelings or offering some quiet reassurance, I tried to be lighthearted, telling him he had nothing to hide and that his teenage insecurities needed to stay in the past. My intention was to encourage him, but in hindsight, I realized I probably only made him feel more pressured and embarrassed. I wasn't giving him the support he needed. Instead, I was making him feel exposed and vulnerable in front of our friends. Even at family dinner, I couldn't resist making jokes at Jake's expense. I would talk about how, early in our relationship, I had to make all the first moves because Jake was so shy. I'd recount these stories in a way that made Jake seem almost inept, as if he lacked the confidence to pursue me. While I thought I was just being playful, I now understand that those jokes probably made Jake feel emasculated, as if his natural shyness was something to be ashamed of rather than just a part of who he was. In all these instances, I thought I was just being funny that I was helping Jake by pushing him to laugh at his insecurities, but in reality, I was doing the exact opposite. Instead of building him up, I was tearing him down, making him feel small and inadequate. The more I joked, the more I chipped away at his self-esteem, until there was hardly anything left. I wish I had realized sooner that my words, which I hadn't meant seriously, were causing Jake so much pain. I wish I had been more considerate, more loving, more aware of how deeply my so-called humor was cutting him. Now, all I can do is look back and wish I had done things differently, that I had chosen kindness over cruelty, support over sarcasm. But it's too late for that now. The boiling point finally reached Jake during a group dinner with our friends. We were all sitting around the table, enjoying the conversation, when the topic shifted to high school experiences. In a moment of what I thought was lighthearted fun, I made a joke about Jake's height back in high school. I mentioned how he was shorter then, and even joked that I didn't really blame the bullies for picking on him, because if I were there, I might have done the same. I added that he was lucky he got a growth spurt and was tall now. I thought it would come off as a playful tease. But when I looked at Jake, I saw something different in his eyes, something I hadn't seen before. He was humiliated. He tried to laugh it off, forced a smile even, but it was clear to everyone that he was deeply hurt. The conversation awkwardly shifted, and I knew I had crossed a line, but I didn't realize just how badly until later that night. After we got home, Jake pulled me aside. His voice was steady, but I could hear the tension in it. He told me that he felt belittled and disrespected by my jokes. He said that he had been trying to work on his self-esteem, something he had struggled with for years, and that my constant remarks were like a punch to the gut. He confessed that he felt like I didn't value him, and that my jokes always made him feel small and insecure. I was taken aback. I didn't know how to respond. In my mind, I was just joking around, trying to keep things light and fun. So I told him that he was overreacting, that it was just a joke and he shouldn't take it so seriously. But Jake wasn't having it. He looked at me with an intensity I hadn't seen before and asked me how I would feel if he made constant jokes about my weight. That question hit me like a ton of bricks. I was stunned. I wanted to apologize, but before I could even think of a response, Jake walked away. In the days that followed, everything changed. Jake, who usually helped around the house even after a long day at work, suddenly stopped. He wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't acknowledge me when I spoke to him, and even avoided being in the same room as me. He completely withdrew, and it was like I didn't exist. He didn't help with the chores or the cooking, something he always did, even though he wasn't really good at it. I could see the hurt in his eyes every time we passed each other in the house, and it broke my heart. Then, after 4 days of silence, Jake packed a bag and left. He didn't tell me where he was going, didn't answer any of my questions. He just left. Panic set in immediately. This was so unlike Jake. He had never done anything like this before, and I was terrified of what it might mean. I tried calling him, sending texts, explaining that I never meant to hurt him and that I was genuinely sorry. I told him that I wanted to change, that I'd work on being more sensitive to his feelings, but the only response I got was a single text telling me that he needed space. It was killing me inside, but I knew I had to respect his need for space. I realized then just how much damage I had done, how far I had pushed him. I was filled with regret, replaying every hurtful joke, every thoughtless comment in my mind. It was clear now that I hadn't taken his feelings seriously, and that realization was devastating. I'm deeply sorry for the pain I caused Jake. I can see now how my actions hurt him, how my jokes weren't just jokes. They were daggers that chipped away at his self-worth. I don't want to lose him. I want to fix things, to make them right, but I don't know where to start. I feel lost, and I'm afraid that I might have pushed him too far. That's why I'm here, reaching out for advice. I've laid everything bare because I need help. I want to be better for Jake, to show him that I can change and that I truly care about his feelings. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right, but I just don't know how. If anyone has been through something similar or has any advice on how to rebuild trust and repair a relationship after hurting someone you love, I would really appreciate your guidance. I love Jake, and I don't want to lose him over my own foolishness. Update. Hey Reddit, damn. I got flamed a lot on my last post, rightfully so. A lot of you called me a bully, and honestly, I deserve that. I know I was at fault, and I'm not going to complain or make excuses. It's hard to swallow, but I accept that nickname. I messed up, and it's all my fault. As for the actual update, I reached out to Jake because the silence was killing me. I told him that we needed to talk because communication is vital in a marriage. I thought we were solid, like all those other couples who go through rough patches, but come out stronger. But when he finally replied, it felt like the ground beneath me crumbled. We texted for a few minutes, and then he agreed to a video call. When we started talking, I could barely keep it together. I cried, told him how sorry I was, and promised that I would genuinely change. I laid it all out there, the regret, the guilt, the whole 9 yards. But Jake? He didn't seem to be interested in any of it. He was distant, like he had already made up his mind. And then, like a bombshell, he told me he was done. He said he wanted a divorce. I couldn't believe it. I asked him when things got to that point. I was desperate, begging him to reconsider, but he just looked at me with this finality that I wasn't prepared for. Jake said there was nothing to reconsider. He told me that I never took his feelings seriously, that I always belittled and disrespected him, and that he was done with that. He wasn't going to stay with someone who made him feel small. He said the only reason he replied to my text was to make it clear that he was going to serve me with divorce papers soon. I didn't know what to say. My mind was racing, trying to find some way to fix this, to pull us back from the edge. I asked him about the house, and he told me I would need to leave since the house was his. He said he was giving me a few weeks to come to terms with things, which is why he left in the first place. I'm in shock. I feel like I'm going to wake up and find out this was all just a horrible dream. Jake has changed so much in just a few days, and I don't even recognize him anymore. I don't understand how things could have gotten so bad so quickly. I guess I thought we had more time, that there was a chance to make things right. But now, I'm staring down the barrel of a divorce, and it feels like my world is falling apart. I don't know what to do next. I know I messed up, but I never thought it would lead to this. It's like everything I thought I knew about our relationship has been turned upside down, and I'm lost. Update. Hey Reddit, unlike me, a lot of you weren't surprised by my last update. Some of you even said you saw it coming, and honestly, a part of me knew you might be right. But still, seeing so many people say I deserved it, that I had it coming, and all that other crazy stuff, well, it stings. You can say whatever you want, I guess. I knew what I did was wrong, and I regret it deeply. But let's be real, I'm pretty sure some of you out there have done worse. Now, as for the actual update, it's been a few weeks since I last posted, and I honestly didn't want to update. After that bombshell of a conversation, I was furious. I mean, how dare Jake just disregard me like that? How dare he throw away our marriage all because he couldn't take a joke? I know now that I was wrong, but in the heat of the moment, I was fueled by anger, not logic. For the first week or two, I stayed in the house, seething with resentment. I kept thinking, who does Jake think he is? We've been through so much together, and he's going to walk away over some stupid jokes? Sure, they were hurtful, but did they really warrant a divorce? At the time, I couldn't see past my own frustration. Eventually, I realized I couldn't stay in that house any longer. It was suffocating me. So I packed up my things and moved in with my parents. My plan? I was going to show Jake. I was going to give him the divorce he wanted and make him regret ever making that decision. I wanted him to feel the weight of what he was losing, to see that I wouldn't just roll over and let him throw me away like yesterday's news. My parents, on the other hand, were devastated. They didn't see this coming at all and immediately tried to help. They reached out to Jake, hoping to reason with him, to remind him of all the good times we'd had. But Jake wasn't having any of it. He told them flat out that I had always belittled and disrespected him, and that he wasn't going to put up with it anymore. He said he was done with me, that nothing, not even my parents, could change his mind. In fact, he said that if they kept pushing, it would only make him hate me more. Hearing that from Jake, through my own parents no less, was like a punch to the gut. I didn't know how to process it. A part of me was still angry, but another part of me was starting to realize just how much I had hurt him. Yet, in that moment, all I could think about was how wrong I believed he was. I was convinced that he was making a huge mistake, that he would regret divorcing me. He had to, right? So here I am, back at square one, trying to figure out where things went so horribly wrong. I keep telling myself that Jake is going to regret this, that he's going to wake up one day and realize what he threw away. But deep down, I'm starting to wonder if maybe, just maybe, I'm the one who's going to end up regretting how I treated him all along. I know I messed up, but it's hard to shake off the anger, the feeling that Jake should have just understood that I didn't mean to hurt him, that he should have given me a chance to change before jumping straight to divorce. I guess only time will tell who ends up regretting this the most. Update. Hey Reddit, it's me again. Just a mini update this time. I'm still at my parents' house, and today I got served. Not really sure how to feel about it. I guess I just feel really tired, worn out, and drained in every possible way. I know it's not much of an update, but I wanted to check in, if only to remind myself that I'm still here, still moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. Maybe this exhaustion is more than just physical. Maybe it's everything catching up to me. The stress, the regret, the anger, and the loneliness. It's like my body's finally giving in to the weight of it all. I don't have much else to say right now, just feeling kind of lost and exhausted, both mentally and physically. Maybe I'll have more to share soon. Or maybe I'll just keep trying to figure out what to do next, one day at a time. Thanks for reading, I guess. Update. Hey Reddit, I didn't want to update until I had something worth sharing. Honestly, Reddit has been pretty toxic for me lately, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep coming back here. I've seen a lot of comments telling me to get a job. Just to clear things up, I'm still living with my parents, so that's why I haven't been focusing on job hunting just yet. As for the divorce, it's finally been finalized. The process was pretty straightforward. No complicated issues with child support, custody, or dividing up property. It was a quick, clean break. In a way, I'm grateful for how simple it was. It might have been less messy, but it also feels oddly impersonal and abrupt. I miss my husband a lot. I really tried my hardest not to break down during the final proceedings. I asked Jake if he was absolutely sure about this decision. He told me that he couldn't stay married to someone who consistently belittled him and made him feel inadequate. It was a hard pill to swallow, but I guess I have to accept his choice. Right now, I feel kind of lost and exhausted. I'm not really sure what to do next or how to move forward. I'm trying to process everything, and it's a lot to handle. I know it's going to take time, but I'm hoping I can start finding some clarity soon.